Pokemon Emerald or PKMN Emerald or Please Keep My Name Emerald.
Let's move on to our next one's what? PKMN
Emerald, yeah.
And that's Pokemon, right?
Yep.
Is what our acronym's for?
Yeah. So it's
You kind of touched on that a little bit before, but kind of give us if we didn't hear that last clip, what can you tell us about that new song?
Yeah, so is a song about pretty much envy. Not necessarily jealousy, because that's one thing I did learn, is that jealousy and envy are two different emotions that you feel. Envy is wanting something that someone has that you don't have, and jealousy is the fear of someone taking something that you have away from you. And so I wanted to pretty much make sure that I hit those points when I made the three songs, Jade Rose's Pokemon Emerald and Leaf Green, was that I wanted it to be about envy, not jealousy. Mm-hmm. I wanted something that I couldn't get. And Please Keep My Name Emerald literally just means, more or less, just keep my name green. I'm feeling, envy. I'm green for envy type of deal. So it's still think about me in the sense, I hope you still think about me in the sense that I want you to think about me in. And if you don't, that'll shatter me. That's pretty much what that kind of concept is. And which goes with the hero's theme, C# major, that Jade Rose's Pokemon Emerald and Leaf Green all are in, that I got after Tyler's Flower Boy, was that I wanted the heroes, because it's normally the hero's theme comes out when the hero of the story is dealing with something of trial and tribulations, either positive or negative. A lot of the times it comes out when it's at that point where the hero of the story has to make a really crazy decision, or they're testing their actual morals and everything like that. And a huge part about how Jade Roses goes into Pokemon Emerald is, if you listen closely, at the end of Jade Roses, I don't finish that the piano phrase. It literally goes womp womp womp, and and it doesn't go back to the C chord, mm-hmm. the C# chord. So then when Pokemon Emerald comes in, it immediately hits that same exact chord on beat, which is why they're spaced perfectly like that. So it's wah 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 dung boo doo doo doo, and it goes into the whole thing. And when I made that originally, the poem at the end, the second part, the poem is called Nostalgia, which is pretty much about going back to a time where you weren't as stressed about X, Y, and Z. I didn't have to think about, what's making me happy. I didn't have to think about, am I happy every single day? Back when I could literally just flip on my Game Boy, flip on my DS, and just play Pokemon Emerald. Before I had to deal with us having emotional problems with each other. The fact that before I had mental issues, before X, Y, and Z, and through that poem, I wanted definitely to put the poem on the record, but I was I don't think I can justify putting the poem by itself and still have another poem-based song. Having two on there would be diminish it from being this is a musical record to this is more of a expression of just emotions or whatever, which is fine. I just didn't want it to be perceived as less of an album. And so I decided, well, I can always have a two-part song. There's always that. I can have two of those. And I ended up going to the studio, making the beat for Pokemon Emerald in 30 minutes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, when I sent the drums out to Diggity D, he pretty much didn't change any of the rhythm. He added a couple of hits on with another couple instruments or something like that. But other than that, he didn't really do anything but change the sounds. He pretty much this is perfect the way it is. I don't really want to do anything to this. And right before we were done with the record, right before mastering, I had hit Jamil up and I said, "Hey man, if you wouldn't mind throwing some like singing ad-libs on this just throughout the entire like actual song portion right before the spoken word piece, I'd really love that. Because it would really bring the whole thing together. And like when he sent it to me, I was like, man, I like literally said, I don't even want to chop up your 2 vocal takes. I'm just gonna split them into completely different like panning options and just have it just play like as is, because your voice complemented it so well. It literally just filled the rest of the song out for me. And I was just kind of like, I don't want to take anything out. I don't want to chop anything up. It's good as is, and that's how that song came to be.
The more I talk to you, the more it seems like you're just a really avid student of music. Was that self-taught? Was that what you learned at school, or all the music theory and all the different breaking down the ways that it all structurally goes together? Is that your brain always just work like that? It's
so funny because I always loved like beat switches and stuff, and key changes in songs a lot. That was always like one of my favorite things about like the new brand of hip hop, where people like tend to do more stuff like that. Cause that's a rock thing. That's like a rock and roll, like 70s kind of thing. That's not something that you really hear in popular music these days. So I would say it's a little different, because I remember some theory from when I first doing my year of baritone before quitting and stuff, and I had been dabbling and playing piano a little bit. I even took some piano classes in high school and stuff, so I could understand theory a little bit more. But I'm like so lazy at the way like classroom settings are like structured. I have to have like either one-on-one, or it's like got to be like, I'm in the studio, I want to make the song. What are song keys and chord structures? Kind of like deal. So like I wanted to learn more about that. I found a couple resources both by myself and through like Tyrell and Jamil, who helped me out a lot on that kind of stuff. And I pretty much started teaching myself how to do everything from scratch as like a slow build throughout my entire college career, leading up to the release of my project 727, where I did everything by hand. It's not a single sample on there. I played everything by myself. Even though it's like not the time that I like made all my beats, but there's like no samples, there's no loops. It's literally just me playing everything out. And so from that, I was like, I liked this. I like this feeling of being able to do it all yourself. And then I was like, but I gotta figure out how to take this to the next level. Something's missing. And a conversation I had with a neighbor kid of mine back in Maryland right before I moved, like literally 2 days before I moved, he came into my room because he was going to school for the same thing. He was literally getting ready to go to college for the same thing I went to college for. And then he had come to my room, studio area, like listen to some of my beats and stuff. He was like, man, these are really dope, but like the one thing I think you should do, add chords on top. It's like once I think you learn how to add chords on top of your music, you'd be done pretty much with like these songs. Because like the only thing that's missing is the fullness of a chord. Mm-hmm. And then he gave me some sources too. He even like sent me some notes from his own theory and stuff, because he's like a jazz head, plays multiple instruments, literally going to school for music composition and stuff. And like through a bunch of these different resources, I even have like a friend now, Jasper, who's like, yo, hit me up if you need to know anything about theory. It's what I went to school for. And it's a little bit of self-taught, then like a little taught through like friends and stuff that's giving me like resources and things. And it's just like putting it all together. It's like I did a lot of research, like pretty much on my own. I learned like pretty much color theory when it came to music. I wanted to learn more about like why songs feel the way they do, so I learned more about dissonant chords, tritones, like crazy, like more advanced like stuff that like hip hop dudes don't learn about, just because it's like more of a musician kind of thing. It's so weird because it's like saying that is like kind of funny with hip hop, because like it just doesn't. That's the cool thing about it. It doesn't follow the standard. It doesn't have to. And so like a lot of hip hop dudes don't use like these classical and jazz based things in their music. So when you do hear it, it's like, where did this come from? Like it's a completely different realm of hip hop that I feel like a lot of people like haven't touched on yet.
Yeah, ever since I can remember, I've always like searching YouTube for like the classical / hip hop, like the mashups.
Yeah.
Like you get some real nice bass, and then you get a little bit of Beethoven, and you're like, that goes together perfectly.
Yeah.
And like you said, not too many people really either take the time or just go through those type of samples to put it in.
Exactly.
But good for you for doing that.